guys, it's Mrs. Paulk. Today we're going to go ahead and cover the two types of data that we'll be dealing with this year. Please make sure you have your note print out. It was fill in the blank for this one, so please check Google Classroom and go ahead and get your printout. So your first bullet point says, what is science? Science involves asking questions about nature and then finding ways to answer them. So when we are doing science, we typically have a question in mind and we want to figure out what that answer is. So in order to find that answer, we go ahead and do experiments. Go ahead and pause if you need to. Restart when you're ready. Your next bullet point is about the scientific process. Science begins with curiosity and ends with discovery. So when we do science, we always begin with a question, something that we're thinking about, something that we want to know what happens with. And then after the experiment, we end up with a discovery, or we find out what's going on or why it happens. In this picture here, this is a picture of a stone called a lodestone. And about 2,000 years ago, they discovered that the lodestone is attracted to the north. And that's because the lodestone has magnetic minerals in it, and our poles are magnetic, so it would be attracted to the north. So they used the stone in the compasses when they first invented the compass. Go ahead and pause if you need to. Restart when you're ready. Your third bullet point, scientific curiosity. Curiosity involves questions. Whenever someone's curious about something, they ask a lot of questions. Observation provides data, and data can provide answers. There are two types of data, quantitative or qualitative. If we look at the word quantitative, it looks like a word that you may be familiar with. It kind of looks like quantity. So when I'm talking about I have a quantity of 30 notebooks, that means I have 30 notebooks. It deals with a number. So quantitative data deals with numbers. So you'll have quantitative data when you're timing someone to see how fast they go, or to see how much rain has fallen in an area. Qualitative data is descriptive. So the opposite of numbers would be words. So qualitative is when you write out sentences or describe things like the brown desk or green frog. Something along those lines. You're not using numbers, you're using descriptive words. Go ahead and pause if you need to. Restart when you're ready. On your paper, and I apologize, I flipped your data charts. So on your paper, you first have this blue chart down here, and this would be an example of quantitative data. And the reason why it is quantitative data is because there are numbers involved. So your first chart should be labeled as quantitative. Your second chart has words on it. Okay, and look at these words. It says slightly, rough, heavy, brown, red, brown, metallic. These are all descriptive words. Okay, so since we're using descriptions and we're using words, it's going to be qualitative data. Go ahead and pause if you need to. Restart when you're ready. Moving on to science and technology, this is on the back of your paper. It says that science is concerned with discovering and describing by observing and experimenting. So when we do science, we are trying to discover something and we're describing it by doing observations and doing experiments. Technology is an application of science for practical purposes. So when we use technology, we are usually using it to help us do something else. So for example, our computers are full of technology. We use our computers to help us research things, to help us do homework, check Facebook, things like that. Another example of when we use technology for practical purposes is using solar panels. Solar panels capture the sunlight's energy and converts it into a form that we can use. In order to do that, we had to have had knowledge of electricity, conductivity, and light in order to make those solar cells and make them work. Go ahead and pause if you need to. Continue when you're ready. There are three branches of science, and we're going to talk about those three branches now. We have Physical science, which is your first blank, earth and space, which is your second, and life science, which is your third. If you look at the bottom of the picture, you have a graph. We're going to go ahead and talk about that, not a graph, excuse me, a diagram. We're going to go ahead and talk about that diagram in just a second. Go ahead and pause if you need to restart when you're ready. If you look at your picture, okay, it's titled Natural Science, and it breaks it down into the 3 branches of science. We have physical science, which is further broken down into physics and chemistry. So in physical science this year, you'll be learning about a little bit of physics and a little bit of chemistry. The reason this rocket is here, this spaceship, is because we needed physics to overcome gravity to make the spaceship fly, and we needed the chemistry to make the fuel for the spaceship to fly. So that helps us with the discovery of things in space. Then we have Earth and Space Science. Earth and Space Science is broken down into geology, meteorology, oceanography, and astronomy. And then finally, Life Science is broken down into botany, zoology, ecology, and genetics. I have some review questions for you. You do not need to write down the answers, but I encourage you to try to answer these on your own. Your first review question is, which of the following is an example of quantitative data? Is it A, 10 students, B, blue circles, C, rectangular objects, or D, sweet cookies? If you answered A, 10 students, then you are correct. Awesome. Your second question is, science begins with blank and ends with blank. A hypothesis and theory, B, discovery and curiosity, C, curiosity and discovery, or D, hypothesis and law. If you pick C, you are correct, curiosity and discovery. I hope you have a great day, and let me know if you have any questions. Bye.